Lost World Minute, a Minute by Minute podcast reviewing 1997 sequel Jurassic Park, 1 minute at a time. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And today we're here to discuss Minute 54 of The Lost World. We haven't got any news or anything to really discuss this week, so if you're ready, David, we'll get straight into 54.
Sure.
Alright.
Peter, if you want me to run your little camping trip, there are two conditions. Firstly, I'm in charge, and when I'm not around, Dieter is. All you need to do is sign the checks, tell us we're doing a good job, and open your case of scotch when we have a good day. Second condition, my fee. You can keep it. All I want in exchange for my services is the right to hunt one of the tyrannosaurs. A male, a buck only. How and why are my business. Now, if you don't like either of those two conditions, you're on your own. So go ahead, set up base camp right here, or in a swamp, or in the middle of a wreck's nest, for all I care. But I've been on too many safaris with rich dentists to listen to any more suicidal ideas. Okay? Okay.
As we entered Minute 53 of The Lost World, the male and female tyrannosaur had come onto the scene and had spent most of the minute communicating with their baby still lying on the table inside the trailers. Sarah had said this is not hunting behaviour, and as we start Minute 54, she says they're not hunting, they're searching. They came for their infant. At 53 minutes and 7 seconds, Ian says, let's not disappoint them. Breathing heavily, Sarah picks the baby up by the torso. Ian grabs the tail. And at 53 minutes and 18 seconds, Nick removes his belt from the baby's snout, saying muzzle off. This causes the baby to bellow loudly, a sound clearly heard by the adults outside. At 53 minutes and 32 seconds, Ian opens the door to the side of the trailer, giving room for Sarah to carry the baby outside. The male Rex is there waiting, sniffing at them. At 53 minutes and 45 seconds, Sarah places the baby down the ground and it starts to walk off towards the male. She never takes her eyes off it as they head off into the jungle. Ian helps her back inside and closes the door in front of her. At 53 minutes and 56 seconds, we hear the phone on the wall start to ring and a voiceover from Ian. Yeah, Eddie? Eddie says, and this ends Minute 54 of The Lost World. But yeah, straight off last minute, sort of not hunting behaviour. They're searching, they come for their infant, and Ian's still scared quite a lot it seems, and let's not disappoint him.
Nope.
And we get the three humans sort of start to move around the infant as it's still laying on the table, as they prepare to move it outside. Sarah grabs the baby by the torso, Ian's got the tail, and Nick removes the muzzle, or his belt, and says muzzle off. And as soon as the muzzle's off, we really get the vocal performance from that infant. And as soon as it sort of starts to bellow out too, and they walk down the trail, we get both adults advancing forward as well, keeping an eye out through the windows.
And of course we get the classic foot thumping return.
Yeah, yep. And they carry the baby to the door. Ian reaches down and opens it, and the male's already waiting there. We sort of lose sight of the female here for a little bit. Whether she's walking around the front to be beside him or not, we don't really see anything again of her until they start the trailer attack.
No.
But Sarah sort of steps down into the mud and the rain, never takes her eyes off the male standing there, which is good too.
No, she's very, I wouldn't say inappropriately excited, but she's kind of, I'd say, speechless here that she's actually seeing a T-Rex up close and personal here, you know?
Well,
and interacting with its young, because as a behavioral paleontologist, she's especially interested in the way the parents interact with the infant.
And that's exactly right. Not only is she seeing this animal alive, for one, but the fact that it's doing exactly what she had theorised and been laughed at by other academics. It's the T-Rexes are here, they're looking for it, they're not hunting, they're here searching for their infant, showing parental behaviour. And she's maybe a little bit overexcited for it, but
yeah,
but it's
good word for it.
Yeah, she's just sort of lost in the moment, and thinks that she can give the infant back and everything will be fine. In both the novel and the pre-San Diego script, she actually sings to the adults to sort of calm them down a little bit. Sort of citing that in Africa sometimes she'll sing to lionesses or lion parents when she's playing or handling cubs, stuff like that. Which is sort of another little callback, but but we see they sort of they let the animatronic fall to the ground here, and we get a you can only assume it's just a stand-in tail sort of wiggle away from their arms as the infant walks off screen. We don't see that. We don't see what the T-Rex does in the novel. It picks it up by the scruff of the neck and carries it off into a tree.
Yeah.
To keep it safe so it can come back.
I'm curious what the T-Rex did do with the baby, because they put the baby someplace and then they come back and start tearing up the trailer. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, well that's in the novel they pick it up and carry it away. We don't see any of that even sort of later when they get back on island. The baby's running around by itself, so whether it might have, we've seen it run away from Sarah, so maybe it did run off and follow them. If this is their territory and they aren't used to seeing other predators around, they might have been happy with it just sitting in the foliage somewhere.
Yeah, true.
But this whole what we get here in the next minute as well, it just sort of it goes into sort of a false sense of security that, okay, the T-Rexes are done, they're gone. There isn't really any trigger or anything to have them suddenly turn and do what they do. But Ian slowly closes the door while Sarah's still sitting there smiling and watches.
Their face literally pressed up against the glass, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
No, I think it's John Rosengrant who was kind of in charge of the baby here, and that's who Julianne Moore is handing the animatronic off to. And I don't believe they, because it was electronically based instead of hydraulically based, I don't believe they sealed the baby's skin or something for some reason. And so John Rosengrant talks in the making of about how he got absolutely soaked in the scene holding the umbrella over the baby T-Rex instead of over himself.
Well, that'd be the direction or the request from Spielberg, keep it dry. Don't let it get wet. Because we need it for later on.
They made two. They did make two baby animatronics.
Yep.
So they had a spare, but I'm not sure what the differences were between those two animatronics. So it was probably best that they not break the primary, you know?
Yeah, I wonder, I haven't sort of read anywhere what the shooting timeline was, whether the Los Angeles stuff was filmed first, or if that was done, being how late in the game they sort of cut the ending and made that a thing. You'd have to sort of think it would have been the second unit or the last stuff to be filmed, but because that way there's no rain or anything there for the animatronic to have issues with. It can just sort of, Sarah can hold it in the back of the car and they can sort of shoot with it there, but
I think they did all the on-location stuff first. Went to Hawaii, filmed the beginning, ending, and a couple pickup shots and a couple other shots. Then they went and did everything in the Redwoods, and then they did the stage stuff.
Yeah.
And so everything was done on stage within whenever they needed to. A good reminder that, of course, movies are not shot in sequence.
Yeah.
And then I think it was the raptors in the village chase that was done at the end. It was done in like early November or something, because you can see everybody's actually wearing like thick coats.
Yeah.
That's in the behind the scenes stuff.
Yep. Well, yeah, even in some of the shots, you can see sort of the condensation, the breath from the actors in between takes or whatever. where it's been put on scene. I don't think it's been added CG.
No, it's not. There was there were actual breath, which I think was kind of interesting because tropical islands do get chilly at night. There's because of the ocean breeze coming and sweeping through the trees, it does get chilly at night, and so I thought that was a kind of nice touch of realism, even if inadvertently.
Yeah, well, that's it, yeah. And this is sort of Costa Rica, not Hawaii, so you are a bit further away from the equator.
Mm-hmm.
You'd sort of losing some of that tropical climate where you only get 2 seasons, and you might be starting to get the 4 seasons of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Malcolm, here to share a few campfire stories with my uncle.
The phone starts to ring, we can hear it ringing in the background, and a voiceover from Ian, yes, Eddie, and Eddie stammers a little bit, and that's where the minute comes off, but of course he's sort of there to say that they're heading back into the jungle, which, since we couldn't see the trailers earlier, it's how can he tell, but he might see the trees shaking.
Yeah, I was going to just say the trees shaking.
Yeah. But that's 54. Again, another little short one as we get the baby back in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
The parents taking it away, and our actors thinking that's it. That was a close call, and as Sarah says in a later minute, the nurturing habits of a T-Rex is now academic. That's it's conclusive, and as I said last week, it's sort of in the shooting script. This is their cue that Nick filmed it all, and that this is proof that the animals are here, the infants here. Sarah's sort of proved right, and that they can call to the mainland and get the boat sent back and get out of there. But as we're about to find out in minute 55, that's not how it goes.
No.
But we can talk more about that when we get there, including how, why they charge the trailers. But Dave, anything else on 54?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Well, half an hour from now, John Hammond's dream, reimagined, will come true. For 1/100th the cost of building a destination resort thousands of miles away.
I believe I've spent enough time in the company of death. All right, guys, let's get the hell out of here.
What's everybody looking at?
Tonight we'll christen Jurassic Park San Diego with a mega attraction that will drive turnstile numbers out of any theme park.
St. Beans to be a theme park, but a research station. This was where we did the real work.
What do you think you were going to document? What do you think you were going to see?
It is absolutely imperative that we work with the Costa Rican Department of Biological Preserves to establish a set of rules for the preservation and isolation of that island. These creatures require our absence to survive, not our help. And if we could only step aside and trust in nature, life